Set the stage for me in Virginia with the gun laws. What's happening with the Second Amendment, and how are you guys fighting back?
A little background, early December I came out in opposition to the newly proposed legislation to restrict everything from assault weapons, so-called assault weapons, to high-capacity magazines and others, and said, if we're going to take away weapons from law-abiding citizens, I intend to swear in thousands of citizens as reserve deputy sheriffs so they can keep those weapons and be able to protect themselves and use them as the rightful owners they are. It's not going to affect them, the criminals that they intend to, it's going to affect the law-abiding citizens. So when I came out strongly taking that stance, and we started to see the sanctuary resolution movement going all over the state, over 100 localities. As that time went on, they began to threaten me and any others like me as sheriff, and saying that they would remove remove insurance coverage and other benefits from deputies and staff. They went so far as to offer a $10,000 raise to sheriffs, all sheriffs, and not the deputies, the sheriffs, if we would basically tuck tail and follow their lead of what they wanted and stop the pushback. We refused that. I specifically refused that, and from there, they went so far as to say they'd take away the raises of the deputies if we didn't stop, and they not only threatened it, but they did that about 2 weeks ago. They've eliminated the 3% pay increase, and last week they went so far as Senator Howell introduced a bill for next session where she could remove the pension of sheriffs such as me next year for doing what we're doing, saying that we won't follow unconstitutional laws, or that I would use my lawful power as a sheriff to swear in thousands of people as reserve deputies, and that is my legal right. Sheriffs have had that authority for hundreds of years. It's not changing. And if they don't like that, they can change the law. But the pushback has been immense. They didn't expect that. They thought they were elected on a 2A mandate, and they can see from now over 100 localities being the ones writing the resolution saying we don't want this. They're realizing their agenda isn't quite as favorable to the general Virginia citizen as they thought. They're tone deaf. They don't really listen and see what's happening and realize that if your bills that you're submitting that supposedly are going to make people safer and stop gun violence or stop mass shootings and other things, if it really did have that impact, if the red flag laws really did have the impact they thought, then why don't we see the Virginia State Police Association, IACP, Sheriff's Association, others, or law enforcement officers themselves, beating that drum, waving their hands, saying, yes, we need these bills. You don't see that at all, because we know we're the first line that are out there, the tip of the spear, doing the work every day from the result of these bills, and we see that, what they're proposing is not going to have the desired effect. When you're now taking a process of going and taking that person into custody on a mental health crisis and saying, when you're there without any due process at all or defense, we're going to take all your weapons, we're going to search your home and so forth, that's going to cause people to be injured or even killed. The officers enforcing these can be victim of the unseen, the unforeseen results of these bills are going to cost people in many ways, and whether it's the citizens themselves or the officers. And we can't express that strongly enough, but they're just not listening. The people on these committees that are pushing the bills through, when you sit down with them and try to give them logical reason to why the function of the weapons that they don't understand will not have an impact. A shooter going into a gun-free zone carrying 3 10-round magazines instead of 2 15-round magazines, what the hell difference does that actually make to unarmed victims in a school or elsewhere when there's no good guy with a gun there to defend them anyway? Police response is going to be 5 minutes or more on a good day. So the people are still going to die, and a 2-second reload of a magazine, having to put one more magazine in, isn't changing anything, but you are hampering the average everyday citizen that has had those weapons to defend themselves every day for years. You're suddenly going to make them criminals by owning these things, and it shouldn't happen. And as sheriffs elected by those people, it's our position to stand and protect their right to own those weapons. In Culpepper, we're a rural county. It may be 15 minutes before a deputy can get there to that 911 call, and if it was someone such as you or your family that had that weapon to defend themselves and suddenly now they're disarmed and can't, that's just a ridiculous thing. And people have lost focus as well. They're trying to say that the Second Amendment is about hunting, sport shooting, and other things. It's not it. The Virginia flag, that state seal, reminds you it's about a tyrannical government, and they're losing focus on that as well, and it's up to us to remind them that it is an American right. First of all, it's a God-given right to be able to defend yourself, and the weapon, the firearm, is just a tool to do so, and they don't have a right to restrict that. Supreme Court's already ruled commonly used weapons in common use are allowed to be owned, and they should be protected by those of us who are willing to take a stand.